Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. MI theory is a natural best friend to project-based learning. In a PBL environment, students work on complex, real-world problems for an extended period. Because the projects are broad, students can often choose how to demonstrate their learning. For example, if the class is studying ecosystems, one student might write a detailed report, linguistic. Another might build a diorama, spatial, kinesthetic. And another might create a data chart of predator-prey populations, logical, mathematical. Everyone learns the core content, but they engage with it through their strengths. Many elementary classrooms use centers or stations. You might have a reading nook, a building block area, a science lab table, and an art station. Students rotate through these, ensuring they get a well-rounded experience. This keeps the day moving and prevents the boredom that sets in from sitting at a desk all day. If we accept that students are smart in different ways, then testing them all the same way seems kind of unfair, doesn't it? This is where things get tricky, because the American education system is still very married to standardized testing. However, in the day-to-day classroom, MI theory has encouraged authentic assessment. Instead of just a multiple-choice quiz, teachers might use portfolios, collections of a student's work over time showing progress in various areas, performance tasks, asking a student to actually do something, like conduct an experiment or give a presentation, choice boards, giving students a menu of options for their final project. Choose one, write an essay, build a model, or record a podcast. This doesn't mean we throw out rigor. A model needs to be accurate, a podcast needs to be well-researched, but it gives students a chance to show what they know without being tripped up by a format that doesn't fit their brain. Now, we have to keep it real. Multiple intelligences theory isn't without its haters, and honestly, some of the criticism is valid. Plus, there is a massive amount of misinformation floating around about what the theory actually says. This is the big one. Multiple intelligences is not the same thing as learning styles. You've probably heard people say, I'm a visual learner, or I'm an auditory learner. That's learning styles, VARK model, usually. The idea there is that you only learn best one way, and you should be taught that way. Research has largely debunked the idea that teaching to a specific style improves learning outcomes. Gardner's theory is different. He's talking about intellectual abilities, not just preferences for how to receive information. You might have high musical intelligence, but that doesn't mean you should have every math formula sung to you. It means you have a capacity for musical thinking. A lot of well-meaning teachers confuse the two. They think they need to label every kid. You're a word kid. You're a picture kid. Gardner actually hates this. He calls it pigeonholing. The goal isn't to label a child and restrict them to that lane. The goal is to help them develop all their intelligences, using their strengths to shore up their weaknesses. Hardcore psychometricians, the people who study measurement in psychology, often roll their eyes at MI theory. Their beef is that there isn't a ton of hard empirical data to support the separation of these intelligences. They argue that G, general intelligence, is still the best predictor of success. They say things like, musical intelligence isn't an intelligence, it's just a talent. Gardner argues that the definition of intelligence versus talent is largely semantic and cultural. We value math, so we call it intelligence. We value music, but we call it a talent. He thinks that's an arbitrary distinction. While the scientific community is split, the educational community has largely embraced MI because, simply put, it feels right. Teachers see these differences in their students every single day. It offers a vocabulary for what they experience in the classroom. Another worry is that MI theory leads to fluff in the curriculum. If a teacher asks students to dance the digestive system, are they really learning biology, or are they just jumping around? There is a danger of superficial application. If the activity doesn't actually reinforce the core content, it's a waste of time. Muscular intelligence shouldn't mean doing jumping jacks while reciting times tables unless the movement actually helps the memory process, which, ironically, it sometimes does. But the point stands. The academic rigor must remain high. So, does this stuff actually help kids learn? When applied correctly, yes. There have been numerous schools, like the New City School in St. Louis or the Key School in Indianapolis, that built their entire curriculum around MI theory. These schools generally report high student engagement, fewer disciplinary problems, and strong academic outcomes. When students feel seen and valued, they buy in. If a kid is convinced they are stupid because they struggle with reading, they check out. But if a teacher highlights that they are incredible at spatial reasoning and gives them chances to shine there, their confidence boosts. That confidence often spills over into other areas. They become willing to take risks in reading because they don't feel like a total failure anymore. It also prepares students for the real world better than traditional schooling. In the workforce, we need diverse teams. We need the person who can write the pitch deck, linguistic, the person who can crunch the numbers, logical, the person who can design the product, spatial, and the person who can manage the team dynamics, interpersonal. Recognizing these diverse strengths early on helps students see where they might fit in the future economy. As we move deeper into the 21st century, MI theory is getting a tech upgrade. Artificial intelligence, AI, and adaptive learning platforms are making it easier than ever to personalize education. Imagine a software program that recognizes a student is struggling with a concept in a text-based format. The AI could instantly pivot and present the same concept using a visual diagram or an interactive simulation. We are getting closer to a world where individualized instruction isn't just a pipe dream for overworked teachers, but a digital reality. Furthermore, as the job market changes, the soft skills, which Gardner would call interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligences, are becoming more valuable than ever. Automation can handle a lot of logical and linguistic tasks, but it can't yet replace human empathy, leadership, and self-awareness. Schools that focus on cultivating these intelligences are setting their students up for success in an automated future. At the end of the day, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory isn't a magic bullet. It won't solve every problem in the American education system. It won't fix underfunding, overcrowding, or systemic inequality. But what it does do is offer a more humane, optimistic, and accurate view of human potential. It reminds us that the kid drumming on his desk isn't just a nuisance, he's a rhythmic thinker. The girl staring out the window isn't zoning out, she's visualizing. The student who can't stop talking isn't just chatty, they are building social bridges. By embracing this broader view, educators can create classrooms that are not only more engaging and fun, but also more effective. We stop trying to force square pegs into round holes. Instead, we start building a world that has room for squares, circles, triangles, and shapes we haven't even named yet. And that, in the long run, is a smarter way to educate. We've come a long way from the days when an IQ score was the be-all and end-all of a child's destiny. Thanks to MI theory, we now understand that genius comes in many flavors. It is up to our schools to ensure that every single flavor gets a chance to be sampled, savored, and celebrated.